The sudden and mysterious death of Alexander the Great in 323 BC has captivated historians, writers, and conspiracy theorists for over 2 millennia. A conqueror of unprecedented ambition, Alexander carved an empire stretching from Greece to India, defying odds and rewriting the rules of leadership and warfare. But at the height of his power, at only 32 years old, he fell fatally ill and died in the palace of Nebuchadnezzar's sect in Babylon. Was it divine will, a natural sickness, or something far more sinister, a conspiracy born of fear, ambition, and betrayal? The official story, a sudden illness. According to ancient sources like Plutarch, Arrian, and Diodorus, Alexander developed a high fever after a lavish banquet. Over the next 11 days, he weakened until he could no longer speak. Finally, on June 10th or 11th, 323 BC, he died without naming a clear successor. Some chronicles claim he whispered, "to the strongest," while others suggest his silence unleashed chaos. The most commonly accepted cause of death in traditional accounts is either typhoid fever or malaria, illnesses common in Mesopotamia. However, the slow and deliberate nature of his decline, combined with the political vacuum left in his wake, led many to suspect foul play. The suspects: allies or assassins. A number of figures in Alexander's inner circle had both motive and opportunity to orchestrate his death. Among the chief suspects were Antipater, the Macedonian regent left in charge of Greece, who had growing tensions with Alexander. Some ancient writers, like Justin and Curtius Rufus, suggest that Antipater feared Alexander was planning to replace him, or worse, execute him. Cassander, Antipater's son, who was known to loathe Alexander and later went on to murder his heir and mother. Iollas, Cassander's brother and Alexander's cupbearer, a role that gave him direct access to Alexander's drinks during the fateful banquet. Aristotle, the great philosopher and Alexander's former tutor, was also mentioned in some later traditions as the mastermind behind the poison plot. Whether out of political fear or philosophical disillusionment, his name was dragged into the murky legend. Plutarch dismisses many of these theories, claiming Alexander's body showed no signs of decay for days, seen by some as divine proof of his semi-godly nature, but to others, a sign he may have been buried alive while in a coma. Poison, a slow and subtle death? If poison was indeed the weapon, it would have had to be rare, slow-acting, and powerful enough to evade detection in an era without advanced forensic tools. Ancient texts speak of poisons made from plants like aconite or hemlock, or even exotic substances brought from the East. Some legends suggest that the poison was mixed into wine during the festival of Dionysus, while others say it was added to his medicine. Modern scholars have speculated that a form of strychnine, arsenic, or even caliciamycin, a type of bacterial toxin, could mimic Alexander's symptoms. However, none of these theories are universally accepted, and without a body to examine, his tomb has never been found. The truth remains elusive. The Curse of Babylon. Legend has it that the Chaldean priests of Babylon warned Alexander not to enter the city. They claimed that doing so would bring about his death. Ignoring their omens, Alexander proceeded, a fatal mistake perhaps. Some believe this curse was not metaphorical, but part of a larger spiritual conspiracy. Alexander had desecrated many temples in his conquests and declared himself divine, actions that may have angered both gods and men. A Babylonian tablet discovered in the 20th century includes astrological warnings about a powerful ruler's imminent death at the time Alexander died. Whether coincidence or prophecy, it has fueled further speculation about cosmic forces at play. A shattered legacy. What is certain is that Alexander's death plunged his empire into a brutal power struggle known as the Wars of the Diadochi. His generals, Ptolemy, Seleucus, Antigonus, Lysimachus, and Cassander, fought over pieces of the empire for decades. His son Alexander IV was murdered, along with his mother Roxana, ensuring no clear Macedonian dynasty could rise. Some historians argue that the conspiracy, if real, was not just an assassination, but a calculated effort to divide and dismantle his empire before it could fully consolidate. In this view, the poisoning was not only physical, but symbolic, the murder of a vision that could have united East and West. The missing tomb, an enduring mystery. Adding to the mystery is the fate of Alexander's body. After his death, his funeral cortege was intercepted by Ptolemy, who took the corpse to Egypt. It was eventually placed in a grand tomb in Alexandria. Over the centuries, the tomb vanished. Napoleon searched for it. So did 19th century explorers and modern archaeologists. Yet no confirmed site has ever been found. Some believe the location of his tomb was deliberately hidden to prevent his deification or to erase evidence of the conspiracy. Others say his body was secretly moved or even destroyed by those afraid of the legend he had become. Conclusion: Death of a God King. Alexander the Great's death remains one of history's great unsolved mysteries. Whether felled by illness, poisoned by political rivals, or struck down by divine fate, his end was as dramatic and enigmatic as his life. The conspiracy theories, legends, and myths that surround his final days reflect not only the fears of his contemporaries, but also the enduring fascination with a man who dared to challenge the known world, and nearly won.